The Galactic Exchange Program. In the vast expanse of the Milky Way, the Galactic Confederation of Sentient Species prided itself on fostering understanding and cooperation among its diverse members. Their latest initiative, the Interstellar Exchange Program, aimed to bridge the gap between different civilizations by having representatives live on each other's worlds for a full planetary cycle. Commander Zixfora, a respected diplomat from the technologically advanced Arcturus system, found herself tasked with overseeing this ambitious project. With her iridescent scales and 4 arms, she cut an impressive figure as she addressed the assembled alien delegates in the Confederation's Grand Assembly Hall. Esteemed colleagues, Zixfora's melodious voice reverberated through the chamber. We stand on the precipice of a new era of interspecies cooperation. The exchange program will. Her words trailed off as the chamber doors burst open, admitting 2 latecomers who couldn't have been more different from each other or the assembled dignitaries. The first was Dr. Samantha Chen, a brilliant human xenobiologist with a mop of unruly black hair and a perpetual look of eager curiosity. Beside her lumbered Grok, a massive, rocky being from a high-gravity world, his craggy features set in an expression of perpetual bemusement. "Sorry we're late," Samantha called out, her voice echoing in the sudden silence. "Grok here got stuck in the turbolift again. You really need to upgrade those weight limits." Zixfora's antennae twitched in annoyance. "Dr. Chen, Emissary Grok, how kind of you to join us. We were just discussing the final preparations for the exchange program." Samantha grinned, seemingly oblivious to the frosty reception. "Fantastic. When do we start?" The commander's many-faceted eyes narrowed. "You seem unusually eager, Dr. Chen, especially considering your species' homeworld is classified as a Deathworld." A murmur ran through the assembled aliens. Deathworlds were the stuff of nightmares, planets so hostile to life that even setting foot on them was considered an extreme sport in some corners of the galaxy. Samantha's grin only widened. "Oh, come on. Earth's not that bad. Sure, we've got a few challenges, but nothing a little ingenuity can't handle." Grok grumbled, his voice like gravel in a cement mixer. "Human friends, Samantha always says this, but Grok has seen footage of Earth, many things that want to eat you, or poison you, or both." "Exactly," Samantha exclaimed, earning bewildered looks from the aliens around her. "That's what makes it exciting. Think of all we could learn from each other. Your adaptations, our survival skills. It's a gold mine of scientific discovery." Zixfora massaged her temples with 2 of her 4 hands. "Dr. Chen, the purpose of this program is cultural exchange, not extreme survival training." "Why not both?" Samantha countered. "Look, I know Earth seems scary to a lot of you, but we humans have not only survived there, we've thrived. Imagine what your people could learn from that." A thoughtful silence fell over the chamber. Finally, a spindly alien with gossamer wings fluttering nervously spoke up. "The human has a point. Their resilience is impressive. Perhaps there is more to learn from Earth than we initially thought." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. Zixfora looked from the eager face of Samantha to the uncertain expressions of the alien delegates. She sighed, a sound like wind through chimes. "Very well," she conceded. "We will include Earth in the exchange program. But," she added as Samantha pumped her fist in victory, "we will be taking every precaution. I will not have this turn into an interstellar incident." As the meeting adjourned and the delegates filed out, Grok lumbered over to Samantha. "Human friend sure about this. Grok's cousin visited Earth once, came back missing 2 limbs, and sporting new phobia of thing called geese." Samantha patted the rocky alien's arm, a move that would have shattered a lesser being's bones. "Trust me, Grok, this is going to be amazing. Besides," she added with a mischievous glint in her eye, "wait till they try our food. If the wildlife doesn't get them, the hot sauce will." As they left the chamber, neither noticed the worried look Zixfora cast after them. The commander had a sinking feeling that including Earth in this program was either going to be the best decision the Confederation had ever made, or the beginning of a galactic-scale disaster. Little did any of them know it would turn out to be both. Welcome to Earth. Try not to die. The day of the Great Exchange had arrived. On a dozen worlds across the galaxy, alien diplomats and scientists prepared to embark on their journey to Earth, each filled with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. Meanwhile, on a nondescript landing pad in the middle of the Australian outback, Dr. Samantha Chen waited with barely contained enthusiasm. "Any moment now," she muttered, bouncing on her heels as she scanned the cloudless blue sky. Beside her, a small welcoming committee of humans and a few alien diplomats already stationed on Earth shifted nervously in the sweltering heat. With a thunderous roar that sent nearby kangaroos bounding away in panic, a sleek silver ship materialized above them. It hovered for a moment before gently touching down, kicking up a cloud of red dust. As the dust settled, a hatch opened with a pneumatic hiss. A ramp extended, and out came the most motley crew of aliens Earth had ever seen. First was Zixfora, her scales shimmering in the harsh sunlight. She took one step onto the ramp and immediately recoiled. "By the cosmic egg, what is this infernal heat?" Following her was Grok, who seemed utterly unfazed by the temperature. "Feels like cool breeze to Grok," he rumbled contentedly. Next came Fizzpop, a gelatinous being who immediately began to bubble alarmingly in the dry air. A spindly, insectoid alien named Click-Tack skittered down after them, his compound eyes darting around wildly. "Welcome to Earth," Samantha called out cheerfully. "How was the trip?" Zixfora fixed her with a baleful glare. "Enlightening. Did you know your planet is visible from 3 sectors away? Something about the sheer concentration of natural disasters creates quite the spectacle." Samantha beamed. "Awesome, isn't it? Now, who's ready for a tour?" What followed was perhaps the most eventful guided tour in Earth's history. Within the first hour, Fizzpop had to be rescued from a group of curious emus. Click-Tack discovered he was allergic to eucalyptus, and Zixfora had a minor meltdown over the concept of sunburn. "You mean to tell me," she sputtered, frantically applying sunblock to her scales, "that your own star actively tries to damage you?" Samantha shrugged. "Yeah, but that's what sunscreen is for. Oh, and hats, and staying indoors during peak UV hours, and regular skin checks for melanoma. Really, it's not a big deal." Grok, meanwhile, was having the time of his life. He'd taken to petting every animal they came across, regardless of how bitey or venomous it might be. "Earth creatures tickle Grok," he announced happily, even as a particularly annoyed wallaby tried to kick him. As they made their way back to the research station, a sudden commotion erupted from a nearby field. A mob of kangaroos had taken an interest in the alien visitors and decided to investigate. "Oh no," Samantha muttered. "Okay, everyone stay calm. They're usually not aggressive, but..." Her words were cut off as the lead kangaroo, a massive gray male, reared up to his full height and fixed the group with a challenging stare. Click-Tack's antennae went rigid with fear. It's displaying dominance behaviors. We're doomed. But before anyone could panic further, Grok stepped forward. He drew himself up, puffed out his rocky chest, and let out a rumbling growl that shook the very ground. The kangaroos froze. For a tense moment, the two species stared each other down. Then, to everyone's amazement, the lead kangaroo slowly lowered itself back down, and with what almost looked like a respectful nod, led its mob away. "Grok," Samantha said, awe evident in her voice, "I think you just won a dominance contest with the kangaroo." That's unprecedented." The rocky alien shrugged his massive shoulders. "Grok good at making friends." As they finally reached the safety of the research station, Zixfora turned to Samantha, her scales a pale shade of stressed lavender. "Dr. Chen, I must protest. In the span of a few hours, we faced extreme temperatures, aggressive wildlife, and a star that actively tries to kill us. How can you possibly classify this as anything but a death world?" Samantha grinned, wiping sweat from her brow. Oh, come on. This, this was just a Tuesday afternoon in Australia. Wait till you see what we've got planned for tomorrow. The collective groan from the alien visitors was drowned out by the distant sound of kookaburras, laughing as if they knew exactly what was in store for Earth's bewildered guests. Humans, the ultimate survivors. As the weeks passed, Earth's alien visitors found themselves on a crash course in human resilience. Each day brought new challenges, and with them, new opportunities for their human hosts to demonstrate just how well adapted they were to their seemingly hostile world. One particularly memorable incident occurred during a visit to New York City. The aliens, still reeling from their Australian adventure, were unprepared for the sensory overload of the Big Apple. It's so vertical. Click-Tack chittered nervously, his compound eyes trying to take in the looming skyscrapers. How do you not get disoriented? Samantha, now accompanied by her colleague Dr. Mike Rodriguez, a laid-back Californian with a passion for extreme sports, just laughed. You get used to it. Besides, the real adventure is down here on the streets. As if on cue, a taxi screeched to a halt inches from where they were standing, horn blaring. The driver leaned out, shouting colorful expletives that made even Grok blush. Fascinating, Zixvora murmured, hastily noting down the new vocabulary. Your species has elevated rudeness to an art form. Mike grinned. That's nothing. Wait till you see the subway at rush hour. The subway, as it turned out, was an experience that would haunt the aliens' nightmares for cycles to come. Packed into a crowded car, jostled from all sides, the visitors watched in awe as their human guides navigated the chaos with practiced ease. How? Fizzpop burbled, his gelatinous form quivering with each lurch of the train. Do you endure this daily? Samantha shrugged, deftly sidestepping a breakdancer who had decided that a packed subway car was the perfect venue for his art. It's efficient. Plus, great people watching. As they emerged from the subway, gasping for air, well, those who needed to breathe, they were met with a new challenge: navigating Times Square. It's so loud. Click-Tack moaned, his antennae drooping. And bright. How do you not go insane? Mike chuckled. Bold of you to assume we haven't. But seriously, it's all about adaptation. You should see this place on New Year's Eve. The day took an unexpected turn when a summer thunderstorm rolled in, catching the group off guard. As lightning split the sky and rain poured down in sheets, the aliens huddled under an awning, watching in disbelief as New Yorkers continued about their business, barely breaking stride. Your sky is attacking us, Zixvora hissed, her scales crackling with static electricity. And yet your people seem unconcerned. Samantha, hair plastered to her face, beamed. Isn't it great? Free light show and shower all in one. Oh, watch this. She stepped out into the rain, flagged down a taxi, and gestured for the others to follow. Come on, I know just the place to wait out the storm. That place turned out to be a small, hole-in-the-wall restaurant that promised the spiciest wings in the galaxy. Mike's eyes lit up. Oh man, I love this joint. You guys have got to try their supernova sauce. What followed was a culinary adventure that had Grok sweating rocks, Click-Tack breathing fire, and Fizzpop turning colors previously unknown to science. Zixvora, after one cautious taste, declared the sauce a weapon of mass destruction and demanded to know why it wasn't classified as such. Samantha and Mike, meanwhile, happily munched away, seemingly immune to the mouth-searing heat. It's all about building up a tolerance, Samantha explained between bites. Plus, capsaicin has some great health benefits. As the day wound down and they made their way back to their temporary lodgings, the aliens found themselves exhausted but strangely exhilarated. They had survived New York City. Surely they could handle anything now. Grok summed it up best as they collapsed into their beds, or in Fizzpop's case, his containment tank. Grok thought homeworld tough. But Earth is something else. Humans are crazy, but good crazy. Samantha and Mike exchanged a grin. Just wait. Mike said, a twinkle in his eye. Tomorrow, we're taking you surfing in Hawaii. Ever seen a volcano up close? The collective groan from the alien quarters was music to their ears. Earth might be a death world, but its human inhabitants were determined to show that it was also the greatest adventure in the galaxy. The alien invasion that wasn't. As the Earth phase of the exchange program neared its end, the alien visitors had grown accustomed to expecting the unexpected. They'd surfed in Hawaii. Grok, it turned out, made an excellent natural breakwater. Explored the Amazon, where Click-Tack found a previously undiscovered species of beetle and promptly adopted it, and even braved a music festival in the Nevada desert, an experience that left Zixfora questioning the very nature of reality. But nothing could have prepared them for what happened on a quiet Tuesday afternoon in downtown Chicago. The group was enjoying a stroll along the magnificent mile, with Samantha and Mike pointing out architectural features and regaling their guests with tales of the city's colorful history. Suddenly, the sky darkened ominously. "Ah, not another one of your atmospheric tantrums," Zixfora sighed, reaching for the umbrella she'd taken to carrying everywhere. But Samantha's face had gone pale. "That's not a storm." They looked up to see a massive spacecraft hovering over the city, easily dwarfing the tallest skyscrapers. As they watched, smaller craft began to deploy from the mothership, descending toward the streets. "Oh no," Fizz-Pop burbled anxiously. "It's the Vorkorks. They must have followed us here." "The who now?" Mike asked, his eyes never leaving the ships. Click-Tack's antennae quivered with fear. "The Vorkorks. Galactic conquerors. They subjugate worlds for their resources. We may have forgotten to mention them in our briefings." Samantha's eyes narrowed. "You're telling me Earth is about to be invaded." A new understanding of Deathworld. In the weeks following the failed Vorkorks invasion, Earth became the talk of the galaxy. News of how a single city had repelled a conquest that had subjugated entire star systems spread like wildfire. The Galactic Confederation found itself flooded with applications from species eager to participate in the next round of the exchange program. Back on Earth, life had largely returned to normal, or as normal as it ever got on this peculiar planet. The alien visitors, however, found themselves changed by their experiences. On their last day, the group gathered on the observation deck of the Confederation's ship, looking down at the blue-green marble that had been their home for the past months. Zixfora, her scales shimmering with a mix of emotions, turned to Samantha and Mike. "I must admit, when we first arrived, I thought this exchange program was going to be a disaster. I was certain we'd be returning with nothing but casualties and complaints." Samantha grinned. "Instead, you're going back as the heroes who helped save Earth from an invasion. Funny how things work out, huh?" Click-Tack chittered excitedly. "I've already submitted 17 papers to the Galactic Scientific Journal. The biodiversity on this planet alone will keep our researchers busy for decades. And Grok has made many new friends," the Rocky being rumbled happily, showing off a collection of souvenir t-shirts that would baffle fashion experts across the cosmos. Fizz-Pop, who had developed a surprising affinity for Earth's carbonated beverages, burbled contentedly. "I started a petition to reclassify Earth. Deathworld seems so inadequate now." Mike raised an eyebrow. "Oh, what did you have in mind?" "We're thinking Lifeworld," Zixfora explained. "A planet so full of challenges that it breeds life capable of adapting to anything, of thriving in conditions that would break lesser species. A crucible of evolution, if you will." Samantha nodded approvingly. "I like it. Though I still think Awesome World has a nice ring to it." As the ship prepared for departure, there was a palpable sense of bittersweetness in the air. The aliens had come expecting a harrowing ordeal on a hostile planet. Instead, they were leaving with a deep appreciation for Earth and its inhabitants, and a new perspective on what it meant to be truly alive. Zixfora cleared her throat, her voice uncharacteristically emotional. "Dr. Chen, Dr. Rodriguez, on behalf of the Galactic Confederation, I want to thank you. You've shown us that we had much to learn about resilience, adaptability, and the sheer stubborn will to not just survive, but to live fully in the face of adversity." Mike smiled. "Hey, that's just the human way. When life gives you lemons, you weaponize them against invading aliens." Flick-Tack offered, recalling a particularly creative moment during the Chicago incident. "Close enough," Samantha laughed. As the ship lifted off, the aliens crowded around the viewports, watching Earth shrink beneath them. They knew that they were leaving changed, carrying with them lessons that would reshape their understanding of life, the universe, and everything. Back on the ground, Samantha and Mike watched the ship disappear into the sky. "So," Mike said, hands in his pockets, "think they'll be back?" Samantha's eyes twinkled with mischief. "Oh, definitely. I already promised Zixfora a tour of Australia's outback next time. Told her it's where we really keep the dangerous stuff." Mike winced. "You're evil, you know that." "Nah," she replied with a grin. "Just human." As they turned to leave, a news alert pinged on their phones. Apparently, a group of thrill-seeking Arcturian tourists had just landed in Florida, eager to experience the famed danger of Earth firsthand. Samantha and Mike exchanged a look, then burst out laughing. Earth might be a death world, life world, or whatever label the galaxy wanted to give it. But to its human inhabitants, it was simply home. A chaotic, beautiful, ever-surprising home that they wouldn't trade for any paradise in the cosmos. After all, where else in the universe could you surf lava flows in the morning, fend off an alien invasion in the afternoon, and still make it to happy hour by sunset? Just another day on Earth, the planet that turns surviving into an art form. The galactic ripple effect. One standard galactic year later, the Great Hall of the Galactic Confederation buzzed with an energy unseen in millennia. Representatives from thousands of worlds crowded the chamber, their attention focused on the central podium where Commander Zixfora stood, her scales shimmering with barely contained excitement. "Esteemed colleagues," she began, her voice carrying to every corner of the vast room. "Today marks a historic moment in our Confederation's history. For too long, we have classified worlds based on their perceived dangers, labeling some as uninhabitable Deathworlds. But our recent experiences with Earth have shown us the short-sightedness of this approach." A murmur rippled through the crowd. Earth, once an obscure backwater planet, was now the talk of the galaxy. "I propose," Zixfora continued, "a complete overhaul of our classification system. No longer will we shy away from challenging environments. Instead, we will embrace them as crucibles of innovation and adaptation." As she spoke, holographic displays flickered to life around the hall, showing scenes from Earth, bustling cities coexisting with natural wonders, humans engaging in what many species considered extreme sports, and footage from the now legendary Chicago incident. Furthermore, Zixfora added, a sly smile playing across her face, "I move to establish a new division within our Confederation, the Terran Consulting Corps." The hall erupted in excited chatter. Near the front, Dr. Samantha Chen and Dr. Mike Rodriguez exchanged grins. They had been invited as Earth's representatives, but this announcement was news to them too. Zixfora raised her hands for quiet. "This course, staffed by human volunteers, will assist member worlds in disaster preparedness, adaptation strategies, and—" she paused for effect, "how to make the best of seemingly impossible situations." As the vote was called, the outcome was never in doubt. The motion passed unanimously, ushering in a new era for the Galactic Confederation. Later, at the reception, Samantha and Mike found themselves surrounded by curious aliens, all eager to hear first-hand accounts of life on Earth. "So, you really drink poison for fun?" a tentacled being asked, waving a glass of champagne uncertainly. Mike laughed. "We call it alcohol, and yeah, in moderation. It's not just about the physiological effects, it's a social thing." Nearby, Samantha was deep in conversation with a group of scientists. "No, We can't actually breathe underwater, she explained patiently. But we've developed technology that lets us explore the oceans. You should see some of the creatures down there. Make your deep space horrors look like plush toys. Across the room, Grok, now Earth's official ambassador to the Confederation, was regaling a group of wide-eyed diplomats with tales of his adventures. And then Grok and small human child built castle of sand, bigger than Grok. But then ocean came and whooshed it away. Humans teach Grok impermanence of all things. As the night wore on, Zixfora found a quiet moment with Samantha and Mike. I hope you don't mind the surprise announcement, she said. We thought it best to present it as a fait accompli. Samantha's eyes twinkled. Mind. Zix, do you have any idea how many humans are going to line up for a chance to be galactic consultants? We live for this kind of challenge. Mike nodded enthusiastically. Just wait until you see our first batch of recruits. We've got everyone from survivalists to kindergarten teachers. Trust me, after wrangling a class of 5-year-olds, handling a planetary crisis will be a walk in the park. Zixfora's scales flickered with amusement. I have no doubt. You know, when this exchange program started, I thought we were going to teach you about the galaxy. Instead, we ended up teaching the galaxy about us. Samantha finished. Funny how that works, isn't it? As they looked out over the gathering, a mingling of species and cultures that would have been unthinkable a year ago, they couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. Earth, the little death world that could, had changed the galaxy's perspective on what was possible. In the years that followed, the Terran Consulting Corps would go on to revolutionize everything from planetary defense strategies to intergalactic cuisine. It turned out humans weren't the only beings with a masochistic appreciation for spicy food. Earth became a hub of interstellar culture and innovation, its universities flooded with alien students eager to learn the uniquely human approach to problem-solving. And if occasionally, a human consultant's solution to a planetary crisis involved duct tape, WD-40, and a healthy dose of hold my beer and watch this attitude, well, that was just part of Earth's charm. The galaxy had labeled Earth a death world, but its inhabitants had turned that into a badge of honor. In a universe full of challenges, humanity's gift was not merely survival, but the ability to thrive, adapt, and find joy in the face of adversity. As for Samantha and Mike, they went on to lead the first Terran expedition beyond the Confederation's borders. Their mission, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no human had gone before. But that, as they say, is another story.